what would you do? And then you're locked up. You have no idea why you're locked up. Are you gonna panic? Panicking is gay, but are you gonna be able to remain stoic? Are you just gonna sit in the jail cell and then hope it's gonna be for the best? What do you think about your family? What are you gonna do about money? What if you're in there forever? What if the cockroaches eat? What about the other people in the jail? Like, I can't even imagine putting myself in, seeing the fact that they made it out of that, and pretty much seeming like the same, not mentally affected at all. It shows a level of, it shows proof to everything they say about mindset.
Charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos to steal the money from the TikTok views.
You see how it wasn't the brokey Wi-Fi? Elon Musk needs to fix Twitter. He's too busy jacking off to porn, looking at all these porn stars that he's allowing on Twitter, rather than fixing his site. Look, this is actually working.
Recruiting girls to make TikTok videos and stealing the money. So it's really
Elon Musk jacks off to AI porn.
a financial crime?
It looks that way, and it's very interesting because the girls who they've identified to add to the file are saying that we're not victims of anything and this isn't true. But the state believes it's true, and the state thinks that I, as a 35-year-old man, woke up. I was already extremely financially successful. I was already a father. I was already very well known. I had no financial motivation. I have no criminal record. It's not my personality profile, but I woke up at the age of 35 and decided to make girls do TikTok to enrich myself with the pennies that I would earn from TikTok views.
So in the United States, I think the belief is that you were charged with human trafficking.
Yeah, that's human trafficking, because what you do is you force a girl to work against her will for financial gain. That's human trafficking. And their justification for this is that girls do TikTok. Some girls I know who they found who say they're not victims have TikTok accounts.
How do you force someone to do TikTok videos?
I guess the prosecutor is going to have to explain that, isn't he? It's a very interesting scenario I'm in, and I'm inside of Romania, so I have to show a degree of respect to the Romanian judicial system. And I have to show a degree of respect.
I gotta admit, having Zherka on stream all the time like this, just constantly, which I think it comes from a place of jealousy, always shitting on Tate. It ruined a lot of the magic for it. It used to be, I kind of watch it with a different lens now. And him here all the time, I'm not really sure. What do you guys think about that? But he's been constantly attacking. I see that as a waste of time to attack Andrew Tate when there's a lot more people that you could direct that energy towards. It just seems like it comes from a place of resentment, because like he was gone for a year while Tate was really blowing up, and he's like, oh, I should have been doing this. It's kind of a reflection of what he could have been, because they talk about a lot of the same things. But yeah, listening to it now, I just keep thinking about Zherka like, yo, check this out. Every time I hear him talk, I'm just already thinking about like, fuck, bro, Zherka's gonna start yelling. And every time I've been on a stream recently, and this is why I titled the stream Sound the Trumpets for SNEAKO, because it's like when I don't have him on, I just see all the chat, Z, 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 and then the trumpet emojis. And I have Nick. And last night I streamed with Myron and Nick, and we were on Cozy, and just the nonstop, sound the trumpets for Zherka. And Nick is talking about geopolitics and what's going on in the Middle East. And I keep thinking about like fucking Zherka barging in like, yo, why didn't you invite me? Just heaving and breathing and sweating, the Masons, and I just see the trumpet emojis. It's just
to the situation I'm in, but the overall charge is that there's an organized criminal group. There's a group of us. I'm the head of it. My brother is below me, and we use the lover boy method to convince women to do TikTok videos to make money so that we can steal the TikTok money.
So there's no, just to be clear, you are not accused of pandering, of pimping, of forcing women to have sex with anybody.
No, not forcing them to have sex, not restraining their movement.
BTR says Zherka's a W, but Tate hate from him is random to me. But it makes perfect sense. It's like when you have two, it's like this. I don't want to use the term alpha male, but like there's psychology where they talk about it when there's two alpha males in a room. It's like they either need to fight or they need to leave. Like there always needs to be one. And Zherka sees that it is like, I can't, I'm the alpha male. I'm the top, I'm the silverback gorilla. And whenever he sees Tate talking, he can't listen to anything he's saying because it ignites this fight or flight response. And so he just needs to make fun of it. A lot of it is defense mechanism instead of listening and trying to see the impact. To even think that, to undermine the impact that Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have had on the masculine youth is just like, what are you talking about? I've seen it every single day. I was just in the gym and some dude had his dog in the gym. He was like taking pictures, stuff like this. He named his dog Top She because it's a Shiba Inu, the same dog that's the logo of Dogecoin. Like everywhere I go, there's just constant, you guys see it, right? Yes or no? Every time when you go outside, you interact with people, like you've seen the zeitgeist shift before and after Andrew Tate. It's very evident. And to try to undermine that is just like, come on, bro.
Not stopping them from living a full life, but the fact that we are somehow convincing them to have TikTok. Very interesting. I don't think...
But there's no actual... I'm asking you this because I do think it's a widespread belief that you were accused of pimping.
Yeah, no, that's nothing to do with any of this case. Absolutely nothing. And it's kind of scary because the crime in itself of human trafficking is a unique one because they can ignore the statement of the victim. So the girls have come forward and said, this is insane. You've just picked us because we're near Andrew and we're his friends. But the whole idea of the crime is they can say that she's brainwashed, right? She's under duress. So you can ignore her statement. State says she's a victim regardless of the fact that she says she's not a victim. So it's very interesting because the difference between sex and rape is consent, right?
Right.
But they remove all of that. They're like, nope, you're a victim. No matter what you say, we're deciding you're a victim. And they've chosen them. And of course, these girls do nothing pornographic. They've never had sex with anyone, nothing to do with that. So they've picked TikTok. So it's scary. Imagine you're a full grown man anywhere in the world today. They can find two girls who have TikTok on their phone, which is every single female on the planet, and they can accuse you of forcing them to take the TikTok money. And even if the girls say they didn't do that, this isn't true, then you're still a human trafficker.
But force, what does that consist of? Forcing someone to do something. Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No, they're accusing me, and this is the thing, they're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
And by the way, these charges presumably are public, so...
They're public, and this is extremely serious, but if you actually analyze the overall case...
And the lover boy method, I think, is the stupidest thing of all time. Like, some people are arguing that that's a form of human trafficking, that's a form of pimping, which is just so dumb, because the reverse should be a crime then, the lover girl method, which is every single porn star, every single OnlyFans girl, all these simps that spend their... take credit card debt to go and tell these girls that they love them. That's the lover girl method. It's a false relationship. They're messaging a Filipino 13-year-old dude saying, I love you so much. I love you. Boy. And they don't even speaking English properly. They're making 10 cents an hour to go and make money for these OnlyFans girls. That's a lover girl method. These guys are actually going broke. The lover boy method, they're both making money. It's a stupid, the priorities are not in the right place, but like no one talks about that.
It's against me. They're saying that Andrew and his brother, by being nice men, convinced girls to have TikTok accounts and then take the money. And it's very interesting because inside of the entire case file, there's not a single financial transaction to us for money.
What are the penalties?
They're extremely severe, 5 to 10 years in jail. And I've already served, coming up now, 7 months in a form of jail. They can only
So you are essentially incarcerated right now?
Absolutely, I'm on house arrest. And that counts as jail. You can only be held 6 months without charge. I was initially picked up, thrown in a cell without charge. And I think the intention of the entire investigation at that point was to find the crime because they had very, very weak evidence. They contacted 2,000 people who know me or knew me. They tried very hard to convince some female somewhere to come forward and say something bad about me. The media machine, which works hands in hands with the justice machine, as you know very well, did exactly that. In fact, they offered bribes effectively. They'd call up ex-girlfriends and say, if you have anything bad to say about Andrew, we can pay you $50,000 for the story. And they tried very hard. They didn't find any evidence of anything. They then released me on house arrest, and then 2 days before the legal limit in which they had to drop everything, they charged me with whatever they had from the beginning, which is very little. And now we have to wait for the Romanian judicial system to analyze the file and, God willing, throw it away.
How long did you spend in jail?
I was in jail for 92 days in a Romanian jail cell.
What was that like?
It was certainly an interesting experience.
I like Tucker's questions because he comes from a very childlike place. When he's like, do you see the way Tucker is sitting, like listening to Tate talk when he's interviewing? He's like, he looks like a little grandchild sitting around the fireplace listening to grandpa tell stories, not just with Andrew, but just with all the interviews that he's extremely curious. Like the questions are so kind of juvenile, but really good at provoking a response. What was jail like? What is that? Comes from a genuine place of curiosity. For anybody who's wondering how to interview, I have friends that are getting into content and they're asking, like, how do I get better? Asking questions, sparking conversation. How do you, like, I've done the 1 minute podcast for a long time. I would consider myself a good interviewer. You just have to come from a genuine place of curiosity. If you actually want to find things out, if you are curious, if you want to learn more about the world, then naturally you're going to be a good interviewer. You can't think of it like, I just need to make content. I need to get this. If you have an agenda, your interview is going to suck. The content's going to be bad. That was exactly when BBC showed up. Like, they were pretty much sitting in the exact same place that Tucker's sitting right now, a different form of mainstream news, considering Tucker was almost used to be Fox News. And they had an agenda, and the conversation sucks because, like, people put up a wall. Like they can tell that you have something else going on and they don't want to be honest. But if you want to spark an honest response from somebody, if you want to get the best out of them in an interview, just come from a genuine place of curiosity.
I won't lie and say it was easy. It was certainly very difficult. The uncertainty of it. It's a very uncertain situation to be picked up on just before New Year's Eve and thrown in a cell without charge. And I'm asking different prison guards and different prisoners, how long am I going to be here? One person was like, I've been here 2 years. I was like, have you been charged? He goes, yeah, but I haven't gone to court yet. Like everyone's been there for years. I thought I was going to be there for years. And it certainly takes a mental toll on you. And I think jail is a different experience when you know you're innocent. There was a guy in there for murder. He's like, yeah, I murdered someone, I'm in jail. You can your soul and your mind can accept the punishment for a crime. But when you've actually done nothing wrong, I think jail is a lot harder.
Did you know why you were there?
Not initially. So for about the first 2 weeks, I never actually got told in English what I was accused of because I was arrested on December 29th. There's New Year's.
What were the circumstances of that?
Yeah, December 29th, 5 a.m., the armed guards ran in this house. They spent all day searching the entire house. They're very interested in electronics, as most federal agencies are. And then they put me...
Imagine how scary that is, too. You're locked up in Romania, an Eastern European country. You don't even speak the language. Romania is like a retardedly difficult language. I don't know if you guys have ever heard it, but I've been to Bucharest twice. And every time they talk, it's just like there's just no point. Like, why do they even have these languages? Just give them up. I hate when, like, countries like that I speak Romanian. Fucking forget, burn the... What? I went to all over Europe and just their languages, like in Amsterdam, Dutch, the signs are just covered in just garbage, long. Polish... Just speak English. English is the international, and all of them are forced to speak a little bit of English. They all have to, from the amount of tourists, from all the content they consume. If you want to work anywhere with an international presence, you need to speak English. Like all these countries, I think they should just give up and learn English. All of them. Any Eastern Europeans in here, just give it up. Oh my God. What the Mossad with the camera?
They took me that evening and said, we're going to go and put you in jail for 24 hours. And after 24 hours, you see a judge, and the judge will decide if you stay in jail. And the judge decided I should stay in jail.
What did you do? I mean, who'd you call?
I had a lawyer, and my lawyer came and he said, we need to analyze the case file. We need to see what they have against you. You're being accused of human trafficking. I was like, human trafficking? That's insane. Who? When? What? I went to jail, and then I was given all this paper in Romanian. I don't speak Romanian, although I live here. And then I was waiting for the translation. So I think it's about 2 weeks before I finally got the papers in English to understand why I was in a jail cell. And then I really understood how insane the accusations were.
What is human trafficking?
Yeah, so the overall, my understanding of it, they're saying that human trafficking is when you convince a woman to do something she doesn't want to do for financial gain. And there's different methods you can do that. You can do that through force, and you can also do that through emotional coercion.
I think most people, just speaking from the American perspective, most people believe that human trafficking is effectively slavery, selling human beings.
That's what I believe as well, absolutely. And this is the thing that's so interesting. When you finally end up the enemy of the matrix, and they use the legal system as a weapon to punish you for having an opinion, you realize how subjective the law is, right? Because it can be a weapon. When you have something subjective, you can just pick and choose. So if they sit and say, human trafficking is a woman doing something for financial gain against her will via emotional coercion. Well, he knows these two girls, they have TikTok accounts.
Emotional coercion?
Convincing her. That's what I'm accused of, because they have no proof of me doing anything wrong. So they said, he's convinced these girls to do TikTok for money. The girls have said themselves, this is not true. And the state is denying their statement, saying, no, you're brainwashed, it is true. And I went to jail.
So how is the state, so the state is trying to coerce the women, so how is the state not committing human trafficking by the same definition?
Well, absolutely, it's very interesting. It's very interesting that you can sit someone down and tell them they're a victim when they say they're not a victim.
You're a victim of being coerced, and we're going to try to coerce you into conceding you were coerced.
Exactly, it's a very interesting scenario. And okay, yeah, and it's a very interesting scenario, and it's up until this point, no judge has looked at the evidence of the case. So up until this point...
What would you do, chat? You're locked up in a Romanian cell. You don't speak the language. They hand you papers in a language you don't even understand. All the gibberish that they have in these countries, like, you just garbage. Like that. You see this language on here? Like, what the fuck is that? What would you do? And then you're locked up. You have no idea why you're locked up. Are you going to panic? Panicking is gay, but are you going to be able to remain stoic? Are you just going to sit in the jail cell and then hope it's going to be for the best? What do you think about your family? What are you going to do about money? What if you're in there forever? What if the cockroaches eat? What about the other people in the jail? Like, I can't even imagine putting myself in, seeing the fact that they made it out of that and pretty much seeming like the same, not mentally affected at all. It shows a level of, it shows proof to everything they say about mindset.
I've been to court a bunch of times, but the only reason I was in court was to discuss my preventative detention. So under Romanian law, if you being free can impede the investigation, you should stay in jail. So the judge agreed that, yeah, maybe if he's free, he can damage this investigation because they're trying very hard to get something on this guy. So I've done a bunch of jail time. And now it just begins. The judge is going to look at the case. And like I said, God willing, I still have enough faith in the Romanian judicial system that she's going to look at this and go, this is not a crime.
Or you're aware of the media coverage of this, however. So you're in jail for 90 days or more, and the rest of the world is talking about you. Do you know what they're saying?
They're saying very heinous things, and I would hate to come across as a conspiracy theorist, Tucker, but I kind of have a feeling that this might be something to do with my influence and an attempt to slander my name. Perhaps I'm crazy. But the fact that they chose such a heinous crime, and they report it so heavily, and they won't shut up and keep repeating basically a slander attack day after day after day. Also considering the fact that other people who genuinely commit heinous crimes have far more favorable press coverage. But I don't want you to think I'm a conspiracy theorist. Please, Tucker, I would hate for you to come here and call me crazy. Yeah. But something very strange about it, and I think
What, when Jeffrey Epstein's friends call you immoral?
Yeah. The goal of it is certainly to slander my name, and I like to see it as a litmus test. I like to see it as an intelligence test. Anybody who wakes up and looks at me and goes, he's a human trafficker because of TikTok, they're fully gone.
So, but from the West, just to defend the average news consumer in the West.
Sure.
Andrew Tate, kind of an outlaw, lives in some palace in Romania, wherever that is. And Romania sounds like the kind of place where human trafficking is like the main industry.
A lot of it happens here. That's what's so crazy about it, right? What's so crazy is if they really want to find a human trafficker, I think they could probably do it quite easily. But they managed to get me.
That's certainly the perception. But it's one of those charges that kind of sells itself.
Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you're found guilty or not, right?
Chet, did you already see this interview, yes or no? Where are the highlights, timestamps? Does anybody have a good moment? Because I've heard this stuff.
Human trafficker forever. And but I do think that public consciousness is changing. I think with things like there's been some very large court cases recently involving some very famous people in which women were caught lying, trying to slander men's names for rape and these kinds of things. And I don't think people believe it anymore. But that scares me to a degree because I think that the typical weapon, the standardized playbook is now failing, and I don't know what the new playbook's going to be. It's almost like better the devil you know. You're too famous, you're too successful, we don't like you. Call him a rapist or a human trafficker, put him all over the news, slander his name, try and wreck his life. Now that nobody believes it, what's the next move? What are they going to try next?
Wouldn't it just have been easier? And when I discovered that there was no actual human trafficking charge, that's not actually human trafficking, I don't care what you call it. You weren't even accused of buying and selling anyone. Then the next conclusion you inevitably reach is they don't like the guy, they don't like his views, which is fine. They're going to send him to jail for that. That does seem like an escalation.
Absolutely, but if they don't like your views and you're inspiring millions of people to resist slave programming, you become a threat. Like, they discuss me.
But you can't send a guy to jail because you disagree with him.
You shouldn't. But
I think the biggest W about this is Elon Musk finally mentioned Andrew Tate and tweeted this. I think he's been quiet. I don't think he's mentioned Andrew at all. But he tweeted this out and tagged Andrew, first time that's happened since he was reinstated. That's a really, really big move.
And before I went to jail, the members of parliament in the UK were talking about me and what a dangerous role model I am for young boys. So they launched this initiative inside of British schools to ban me. My name can't be said inside of any British school. And members of parliament were standing up in parliament saying, Andrew Tate is dangerous. He's encouraging young boys to have misogynistic views, because I'm literally telling young men to go to the gym and to stand up for themselves and believe in themselves and believe in something. And by extension, you look at some of the sexual education books these children are being given, which I believe at age 9, I don't think a child needs to learn about anal sex or any of these things.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. So they're pushing that to the children, but I'm banned.
Well, they're also pushing weed in video games on boys.
Oh, completely. And you can listen to rap music about killing people all day long. And there's a whole, and Lil Nas, he can have sex with the devil in his music videos. That's fine. But I'm dangerous for saying go to the gym. And once I realized what was scary to me is, I said this to my brother. I said, once the parliament's discussing you, you're basically considered a national security threat at this point.
Yeah, I heard all this stuff. Send me put clips in the highlights in the Discord link in the description. It's been quiet recently. I need more stuff to react to. It's not as good, but I'm not gonna. It's pretty much. It sounds exactly like the PBD interview.
That's it. Your job?